Let's dig deeper into Daly's 5 hypotheses. Let's first review the 5 hypotheses for reasons for academic failure, and then we'll discuss specific instructional methods you can use to confirm or refute a hypothesis and use for intervention. The 5 hypotheses for student failure are insufficient motivation, insufficient practice, insufficient feedback and assistance, insufficient modeling, and the materials are too difficult. Let's talk about each one at a time. For hypothesis 1, insufficient motivation, possible interventions include performing a can't versus won't assessment, also called a can't do, won't do assessment, providing contingent reinforcement, which means that students will receive an incentive if they perform the behavior or skill, or if they improve their performance by a given degree. For example, improving their reading fluency rate by 30% over baseline. When providing incentives, it's good to provide the students with 4 to 5 options and allow them to pick the one they wish to work for. And finally, provide students with choice during instruction, either of materials, for example, the reading passages they read, the topics they write about, or the instructional sequence they use. For example, we'll do our flashcards and then read our story, or the other way around. For hypothesis 2, insufficient practice, possible interventions include increasing opportunities for a student to respond. This might be achieved by reducing the group size or making a point to call the student a given number of times during whole group instruction. Practicing specific skills in isolation and repeatedly, such as massed practice. Mass practice is perfect for helping students at the acquisition or proficiency stage of the instructional hierarchy because it helps students develop accuracy and fluency. And finally, doing drills that are timed or untimed, such as flashcards, mad minutes in math, or oral reading fluency practice. For hypothesis 3, insufficient feedback and assistance, possible interventions include using performance feedback and goal setting, which involves providing specific, targeted feedback on a student's performance of the skill, be it oral reading, math problem solving, or writing, and then helping students set a goal for improvement. Subsequent rounds of feedback are then used to help students get from their current level of performance to the goal. You can also use a specific practice and feedback drill called incremental rehearsal. Incremental rehearsal involves presenting students with flashcards with a mix of known items and unknown items, for example, words, math facts, state capitals, etc. And as they learn the unknown words, those items get exchanged for previously known items so that students are incrementally improving their acquisition of the unknown items. Mixing known and unknown information will support high rates of success and help students retain newly learned items. For hypothesis 4, insufficient modeling, possible interventions include reteaching the skill using explicit instruction. When using explicit instruction, including multiple cycles of cognitive modeling. And as a reminder, cognitive modeling is the combination of demonstration and think aloud procedures. Then, gradually release responsibility over performance of the skill via guided practice. For hypothesis 5, the material is too difficult. Possible interventions include modifying to easier material, breaking the skill down into smaller parts, for example, breaking a 2-step word problem into individual steps, and providing accommodations to support performance. Examples might include procedural facilitators, like graphic organizers or checklists, or may include things like a calculator or spell check. In summary, Daly's 5 hypotheses have a direct link to instructional techniques. Those techniques can be used to confirm or refute a hypothesis. The rationale being that if the student improves when given a specific treatment, and that treatment is tied to a specific hypothesis as to the nature of their difficulties, then the hypothesis must be right. In other words, Daly's 5 hypotheses are a way of using response to intervention as a form of diagnostic assessment, or vice versa, using diagnostic assessment as a form of response to intervention.